What's going on, YouTube? I'm back with another beer review. Today we are doing a low and slow Doppelbock from Westbrook Brewing Company out in South Carolina. I don't know anything about Westbrook, although I did skim their website just to kind of prep for the video. And it seems like they specialize in barrel aging stuff, but they're not like Lexington Brewing Company. They do plenty of other things. And it seems like they tailor more to the artisan, more, and I hate saying this when it comes to craft beer, but even more of a craft side of things. They're really artsy and just bring that artisan craftsmanship to their beers. If you look up their website, you'll understand what I mean. I feel like there's another brewery that's kind of like that from South Carolina, and that's Edmonds Oast. So South Carolina is just filled with a lot of creative and artsy people, apparently. And I have not had a beer from either brewery, so I'm really interested in this beer. In fact, it just caught my eye, the label, and when I see a bigger can and a fancy looking label that just catches my eye, it's going in my pick six. Like, this is the beer I've been waiting on to review for almost a week now since I bought it. So I'm glad I finally feel like I'm in the right situation to enjoy such a big, hopefully wonderful beer that I'm about to be drinking. They use Hallertau, let's just say Hallertau hops, just to make it simple. It is not exactly Hallertau. It's the Hallertau, here, we'll just pull it up. Hallertau Mittelfrüh hops. And they used a German lager yeast. The malt, they used black Munich Pilsner malt. They might have actually used 4 malts now that I'm actually just looking it over. Black, Munich and Pilsner malt. So this, I would expect a deep, complex beer here, also with a barrel aging, and then not a hoppy finish. I've only had one Doppelbock. Let's get pouring while I'm still talking. I've only had one Doppelbock, and I went to, for those of you who live in Huntsville, I went to Old Heidelberg off of 72, right there where it's almost Madison, almost Huntsville, and it was from Spaten, and it was pretty good. It wasn't like the best beer I'd ever had in the world. It was really good, you know, for my first ever Doppelbock. Just beers that are really dark, I just have a hard time with really enjoying. So as you can see, we have a deep khaki, very light brown head. We've got good head retention. It's real thick. This is an 8%, 8.2% to be exact, beer. So somewhat of a big beer, and the head retention tells me that. Let's put it up to the light. So it's a very, very deep maroon red. It's not, because of its color, I would say that it's hard to see through. But it's definitely got some clarity to it. They did filter it a little bit, I can see. The head is still retaining itself somewhat, down to probably 1/4 of an inch right now. Let's get into the aroma. Yeah, so I had, and you'll see this video already if you watch my videos in progression, I had a quadruple Belgian ale and it was really good. And I got a lot of dark fruity characteristics in that ale, and I'm getting that same dark fruitiness here in this one. Now, I'm studying to become a BJCP judge, so some of the things I'm saying are just helping me practice some of that. I know I'm adding some information I don't normally talk about in beer review videos, and this one in particular. But I've read that ale yeast typically gives off more of the fruity esters, and it says on their website that they used a German lager yeast. So I'm real interested to find out why that is, and if you could tell me why I'm getting an estery, fruity character. Let's see if it says anything on the can, if they used any fruits or whatever. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on the can. So if you could tell me why I'm getting a strong fruity estery aroma from lager yeast, please tell me in the description. This is something I need to learn, something, you know, I'm still new to beer. Even though I've been drinking for 10 years, I still feel like I don't know anything about beer. So give me some constructive criticism about yeast, if you know anything about yeast. So I'm not getting it totally complex. It seems a lot more raisiny, the aroma. There's definitely that black malt, and you know, so there could be 4 different malts in here, and I'm not gonna act like I can smell all 4 malts, but I feel like I can smell that predominant black malt. If it is a black malt and not a long name that I just read off of the website. Let's wake up some of the yeast here. See if I can't get anything else out of here. There it was. I picked up the alcohol for just a second, so it's mashed really well, and I picked up some of the oak. So that for me, I have to really just dig in here to find that oak barrel. Yeah, for me, the aroma is just dark fruits, mostly like a raisiny, dates, prunes type of dark fruits, and then I get the black malt with that, and then just a tinge of the barrel and alcohol. And I just had an Innocent Gun aged in oak barrels as the wheat ale. I just had that last night, so I'm pretty fresh on what I feel like I should be smelling as far as the oak barrel goes. So, I get the fruitiness up front, and then towards the back, I get that barrel and that black, the roasty blackness is back there on the back of the palate as you're swallowing. I'm getting no alcohol, so they did really well. I mean, it's not like a 15% beer, obviously, but for an 8%er, I feel like it should be getting a little bit of alcohol, and Westbrook did fantastic as far as covering that up. I feel like in the mid palate, as it's kind of just coming over before I swallow, I'm getting the spiciness from that Hallertau. Let's just say Hallertau. I can't pronounce the whole name. I do get that spiciness. And for people newer to beer, when I'm referring to spiciness, I don't mean like hot sauce or even peppery spiciness. It's more of like a cooking spiciness, and I would attribute that to the Hallertau hops. There's like the body, I would say light to medium viscosity. It's not a very thick beer. I'm new to Doppelbocks, just in what I would assume a Doppelbock should be. It would be a thick, chewy beer, but it's obviously not. And judging by their mash bill, they did try to go traditional with the base beer. And it feels that way because a lot of German beers are not overly carbonated, and the carbonation is almost dead as far as what you see in the glass. There's no bubbles moving around. I don't really see any bubbles until I get to the head in this beer. And I mean, it's like there is very minimal carbonation there. I don't have a descriptor for that. But it's not even, like champagne has more carbonation than this beer. And then I get the fruit again, and then in the mid palate there's that Hallertau spiciness, and then on the back end I get more of the barrel and that roasted black malt finish. I couldn't, I don't have the world's best palate in the world, so I couldn't taste the Munich or the other Munich or the Pilsner malt. So there's that. As far as rating this beer, if I'm being objective, I would rate this beer much higher. But since I do these reviews for my own enjoyment, and I'm just giving you a score out of personal preference and not some objective guideline I'm using like a BJCP judge would do, I'm going to have to give this I'm going to give it a 3.75 out of a 5. It's a B+ beer. I'm just not too big on roasty flavors. It's just not for me. And I kind of get some of that roasty, I don't want to say coffee. It's more like a toffee flavoring. It's not quite as bold as coffee. But, it's still good. It dries like I would want it to dry on the finish. I like how complex it is. There's a lot going on in this beer, and I had a lot of fun picking up everything on this beer. This beer was a journey, like I hoped it would be. and I had a lot of fun enjoying this beer. I don't recommend it to rookies. I feel like there's a lot going on, and maybe you're not going to like it. If you're into stouts, I think this would be up your alley. I think if you're into bocks and doppelbocks, of course, this is one you got to try. If you're into porters, maybe it's a lot of beers with those roasty characters. If you're into that kind of stuff, I would recommend this beer to you. Until next time, guys. Cheers.